Hello, welcome Solar Pros. In this video, I'm going to give you the top 3 strategies that my business had to implement right away when we switched over to virtual solar selling that allowed us to get to 60 plus sales per month in the first 90 days. And the reason I'm doing this is because my goal is to give away the secrets, right? The secrets are not mine. They're developed after spending millions, $20+ million on generating sales, right, in this industry using things like social media platforms, direct mail, responses that come inbound from homeowners. And my belief is that if I can give you these strategies, these types of insider views as to what we've been able to develop with our data, then you'll just be more successful, completely independent of anything else. And potentially we end up working together in the future, right? Give away the secrets and I can help you with the implementation. So without further ado, the top 3 things are as follows. So strategy number 1, we had to understand that this is increasingly becoming a buyer's-led journey in the solar industry. Let's face it, people are more informed than they've ever been. They have the whole world at their fingertips in the form of a smartphone. They can get access to information that we can get access to. See, back in the day, sales was all about arbitrage, right? The salesperson had the info, and the person being sold had to get through the salesperson to get the info. But that's archaic. That's beyond what reality is today. That isn't what exists. So people want to have the info up front, okay? And this is how we do this. So we developed ways to get homeowners coming inbound. Now, I started doing this all the way back in 2016, and when homeowners are taking the initial action of putting their information into you, it's basically like them raising their hand and saying, yeah, I'd like to learn more. And this is why door-to-door is going the way of the typewriter, simply because it's not their idea. When you show up, it's not their idea. You have to convince them to go with them on this journey, and people tend to take the path of least resistance. What I mean by that is you're articulate, you're friendly, you're at their doorstep, so they're going to take the path of least resistance and tell you what you want to hear. They're going to book an appointment. They're going to give you the information that you're after, but then they're going to cancel. And they do that about 50% of the time. And it's easier for them to cancel in a text right before the appointment, or it's easier for them just to conveniently not show up than it is to tell you upfront to your face, no. So therefore, the path of least resistance says, let's just give them what they want to hear. So the strategy that I'm talking about, this number 1 strategy, is to have a consistent flow of incoming opportunities, because these people are buying. They're in the buyer's-led journey. People love to buy, they don't like to be sold things. So if they're the ones taking the initial step, right? They're filling out your form. They're scheduling an appointment with your setter or your marketing. They're in the buyer's seat. They're in the driver's seat. Therefore, you just need to receive them. So that's the number 1 thing, is to have a consistent flow of people, like a conveyor belt that runs in the background, completely independent. At Remote Rainmaker, we do a combination of social media and paid traffic and direct mail, right? Very powerful stuff. So we have hundreds of appointments coming in at a very low cost, and these are homeowners who are literally coming out of the woodwork and raising their hand and saying, look, I'm interested, come talk to me. And that is a buyer's-led journey. So strategy that we had to implement, number 2. Strategy number 2 that we had to implement right away to become successful in a virtual sales process versus in person is not waiting for the appointment to start the sales process. Now, what do I mean by that? See, there's so many solar companies who are still stuck in the old ways where they're telling their reps not to contact the homeowner before the appointment. Because why? They're afraid of a cancellation. It's not real. That's not real. That's a fear that is in our minds as a business owner, because we're not on the front lines. We're not the person being sold to. And again, people don't want to be sold to. They want to buy things. And here's the thing. When there's a transition point, when there's a transition from an appointment setter to a energy advisor, there's a gap of information. The homeowner doesn't necessarily know what they're in for, who this person is, what they need to do, what they need to be prepared for, any of those things. So the number two thing that we had to implement right away when we started doing virtual sales in the solar industry was a soft close. Soft closed is when you have the opportunity that comes in, they qualify, and we set their appointment. That is when the sales process happens. You don't wait for the appointment to happen. You reach out, ideally the same day that they book the appointment, and you soft close them. Now, what do I mean by that? Soft close is the funnest thing in the solar industry, because soft close is selling solar power without any numbers, right? It's like if you meet a neighbor at a barbecue for the first time and they're like, what do you do for work? And I'm like, well, I'm in solar power. And they're like, solar power, I was thinking about that. Does that save you any money? The conversation that you would have there is essentially a soft close, right? You're telling them about all the high level benefits of solar power. It's better to save money than not save money. It's better to own versus rent. It's better to, be less dependent on an aging power grid than fully dependent on an aging power grid. And it's really good, obviously, to get these huge tax incentives that the government is literally investing into homes to become more energy efficient. So if you own a home in the United States, it's money that you're entitled to. Am I right? So here's the thing. If the homeowner is contacted before the appointment and they really know who you are and what they're in for and what truly is at stake, because that's the biggest thing. What do they stand to lose if they don't move forward? That's the big ticket. Now, if you stick to the end of the video, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but if you stick to the end of the video, I'm going to send you these scripts that we use to convert at a high level with remote rainmakers, completely free. It's something that you can use on your own appointments right away. It doesn't matter if they generate them online or if you buy leads or if you have a door knocker setting for you. If you follow this script and you follow this soft close before the appointment date, you're going to have a massive show up rate of about 80%. That's what we're seeing. So remember that, soft close. So let's recap so far before I get into number three, because number three is the biggest, juiciest strategy that we had to implement right away to become successful in remote solar sales. But number one, you have to have someone who is raising their hand. You have to have a conveyor belt of qualified people who are coming into your business, who are identifying themselves as interested parties, who are on a buyer journey that you can just facilitate the buyer journey. You're not trying to sell them anything. They're coming in on their own volition. So number two, don't wait for the appointment, gentlemen and ladies. Don't wait. Call them before, soft close them before, make them feel comfortable with the process, let them know that you're the professional. You've done this before, and they're going to be like putty in your hand, okay? Because let's face it, solar power sells itself, just like Mike O'Donnell says. I've never sold a solar panel in my life. Solar power sells itself. That's the thing here. That's the mindset, right? So without further ado, number three, and by far the most important strategy that we had to implement to become successful in solar sales is the range close. Now, what do I mean by range close? Now, the range close is different than what 99% of solar salespeople do. So let's talk about what's broken with the sales process and what people are doing that is, making this decision for homeowners very heavy. As a rep, you get a power bill, you build a proposal, and you price it, and you choose a lender, and you choose an interest rate, and you choose a term, right? 25 years, whatever. And then you present it to the homeowner. But here's the thing. The homeowner now has a decision on they have to make a decision on a specific system size, a specific interest rate, a specific monthly payment. And that is a heavy decision. They have to decide concretely, yes or no, right? Now, that's a heavy decision. And if the person isn't already on third base, if you haven't taken them from interested all the way to, yeah, I'm gonna do this if the numbers make sense, then it is a heavy decision. Now, especially in virtual selling, because it's a very concrete decision, and when you put it virtually, it gets a little bit more hard, more difficult for the homeowner to make that transition. So instead, we get the power bill and we range close them. Now, what do I mean by range close? Well, here's what I mean. And it's funny because we have like 60 some odd rainmakers so far. top 10% are earning over $60,000 to $100,000 per month in commission. That's right, $60,000 to $100,000 per month in commission. And it's because we're just feeding them every single day. We're just generating these qualified virtual sales appointments. So it's like, if you implement these things and you have the incoming opportunities, like the sky's the limit, literally. You can make $1 million doing this, like literally. Everyone wants to sell virtually, but they don't really know how to figure out how to get people on the calendar. They work off of referrals, because if you go virtual, you can't stop prospecting, right? So let us do that for you. That's our superpower. But the range close. Get the power bill. You design the system. Don't show them the system, okay? What you do is everything is tentative, right? So instead of showing them a price or an interest rate or a monthly payment or anything like that, we dangle little carrots. Like, so before the appointment happens, we got this proposal. So I'm gonna send them a screenshot of the layout of the panels on the roof so that I can prove to them that I'm doing work on their behalf. I'm gonna send them a screenshot of just the savings on the proposal, right? Just the savings, like the big juicy number where they're like, wow, that's a lot of money. I should really pay attention to this guy. I should really show up to this appointment and get the details, right? And that's going to drive them to show up even more when they have those little carrots that you dangle in front of them. Now, when you get into the sales conversation, we can't sell them what they can't buy. So why are we pitching them on an interest rate or a monthly payment or a loan amount? That's ridiculous. We have to give them ranges. Okay, Sue, your current electricity bill is about $250. Can we agree on that? Okay. Now, I don't know yet, but it looks, based on my estimations, your solar payment could be between $180 and $230 per month. And the interest rate could be between 3% and 6% total. We don't know that until you qualify. Now, here's what happens next. We do a soft credit pull, and this way we can get the exact numbers. So we're not closing people on any specific number. We're getting people to get pre-qualified, right? Because then we can tell what we can actually sell them. Now, it's more important than just getting them pre-qualified. Now, here's the thing. You're all about building momentum into the close. And let me tell you, little Jimmy, when you get someone pre-approved for $100,000 at 2.99%, it's really hard for them to say no after that. They have to literally say, they have to walk away from that opportunity. They have to walk away from the loan. It's really hard. It creates tension. And tension is good in sales, right? Because the release valve for the tension that builds up is signing the agreement and moving forward. So especially works good with things like one-leggers, which are more apparent in virtual sales process, just the way it is, right? So it's always better to send a husband or a wife back to their significant other pre-approved for $100K at 2.99%, because it's gonna be very hard for them not to use that, especially in this macro environment where you can't get money for under 7%. So the range close, that's it. That's what you do. You leave it open-ended. Give them the savings estimate, price it like when you do the actual proposal. Use whatever dealer has the highest dealer fee, like GoodLeap, 41% dealer fee on 25-year, which we don't typically use them a lot. We have Dividend, which is like super good Dividend. I mean, they have 25-year 2.99 and it's under 30% dealer fee. It's like 27% dealer fee. I mean, it's still very high in the grand scheme of things, but way better than other options. Plus we have Mosaic, Sunlight, and that's the benefit of one of the benefits of remote rainmakers. We don't beholden ourselves to one lender or one installation company, right? So keep it open-ended, price it high, so use a GoodLeap with the higher dealer fee, and just show them the overall layout and savings and range close them on the monthly payment and let them know that the next step is to just see, find out, see if you qualify, find out what it is. It's a soft pull. Very, very simple, right? And all we're doing here, guys, all we're doing is building momentum into the close. And this is how the top 10% of our rainmakers are pushing 600K, 700K of commission in a year. Now, it's only been 90 days, I get it, but a lot of these guys are pushing 30, 40 sales in the first 90 days. I mean, it's legit. We're in 7 states. We have quick install times, like sub 50 days. So anyway, I'll put a application below. This is not an opportunity for employment. I have to be clear. You have to invest up front. This is not cheap. However, it's about a third of the cost of a marketer. It's because if you're trying to replicate what we're doing with Remote Rainmaker, you have to pay a marketer. You have to get leads coming in. That's the only way to do it. And if you pay a marketer, you're going to pay about $3,000 per month to them in retainer fees, and then you're going to have to supply about $5,000 per month in marketing spend. So all of a sudden, you're at $8,000 per month, and then there's a 3-month commitment. So now you're at $24,000 invested. Now here's the worst part. You have to invest $24K before you get your first install. So it all comes out of your bank account before you get your first install. See, at Remote Rainmakers, we're solving this problem. See, cash flow is the problem in the industry. Everyone wants to invest in marketing and leads, but they're not prepared to weather the storm until the M2s come in. So what we do is we take upfront, okay? We take an upfront fee. Now it's not $25,000, it's actually less than half of that. And it's truly to prove that you're a top closer and you have money, right? Or else you can't do this, really. It's a waste of time to even consider Remote Rainmakers if you're not already selling solar power. If you don't have like 100 solar deals under your belt, don't fill out the application below. Literally, don't. It's not for you. But if you do, you invest the one time, and if you close just 15% of the opportunities that we deliver to you, just 15%, that's it, we front you more, right? So you could break free to the Rainmaker table where you still pay per appointment, right? But it's not taken out until the back end, until the M2s come. So that way we're aligned. So your cash flow isn't, you don't go broke doing this, essentially is what it is. And that's the biggest thing that I believe, besides being virtual, besides having all the time and freedom of location and being able to stay home and make more money because you can meet with more people in a shorter period of time, but you're not going to go broke. You're going to invest, and if you prove yourself, if you do what you say you can do, and all you got to do is close 15%, you're going to blast through to that next level. So I'll leave the application below this video and see if you make it through, right? If you make it through, you get a chance to hop on a calendar with one of our guys. We'll give you the details of the Remote Rainmaker program, but I'm so proud of this program. It's the thing that I'm most excited about this. I've never been more excited about something than Solar Cheat Code when I first started it, because I knew Solar Cheat Code was going to change the industry, and it fucking did. And I'll tell you what, this Remote Rainmaker thing, we're going to change hundreds of salespeople's lives in 2023, and I'm just so fortunate, so grateful to be where I'm at right now in this industry to help you. So I'll put the application below, fill it out, and I hope to see you on the other side.